Hey guys, so for my research project, I'm talking about the application, validity, and reliability of the Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills, REVISE, or the ABLLS-R. I chose this topic because I teach in autism-specific classroom, but also because I have a brother with autism and also a little cousin with autism, and so this was super interesting for me to sort of dive into because I know in the BCBA world, which is the track that I'm taking in grad school, this assessment is sort of up and coming and used a lot. And so the fact that there's not a lot of data on the reliability or validity of a test that seems to be used pretty frequently is really interesting to me, so I just wanted to dive into that a little bit more. I'm sure you are all familiar with the diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder that now affects 1 in every 59 children in the United States. So as this diagnosis continues to grow, so do the efforts to develop an assessment that best analyzes the needs for each individual unique child with autism spectrum disorder. The ABLLS-R assessment was created in order to design a simplistic way for doctors, psychologists, educators, parents, and other people who play a role in the lives of someone with autism spectrum disorder to easily monitor and track skills in both basic language and also adaptive skills. The ABLLS-R assessment contains 25 different areas of basic language and learning skills to be assessed. These include cooperation and reinforcer effectiveness, visual performance, receptive language, motor imitation, vocal imitation, requests, labeling, interverbals, spontaneous vocalizations, syntax and grammar, play and leisure, social interaction, group instruction, classroom routines, generalized responding, reading, math, writing, spelling, dressing, eating, grooming, toileting, gross motor, and fine motor. In all of these areas combined, there are 544 individual tasks to assess. As you can see here, each area has a task, a score, task name, task objective, question, examples, criteria, and notes. So the task over here, A1, will give you an area to score on the graphs at the front of the assessment book. The score is a 0 to 1 or 0 to 4 scale based on the criteria they meet. Each criteria will give the number that the child scores if they are able to perform a certain level of the task. Questions give examples of ways to ask the task. It gives examples for people who are unfamiliar with the language and the question or task objective to be able to better understand what is expected. After you have completed assessing the student with each individual task, there are graphs at the front of the assessment book that you can use to score and sort of analyze the information that you have been provided. So as you can see here, this was a student I did for my second assessment project that we did in class. So I just scored individually on the pages that were shown before, and then I went in and filled in all the bubbles. So this is if the student completes all of them. If the student gets a 0, you just fill in the little dot, and it sort of gives you an overall graph. So each section has a page, but it sort of gives you the overall graph of where the student is at. Since this assessment is not normed and does not aim to compare one student to another, but rather analyze each student's unique needs, I wanted to research the validity and reliability of this test. Other than the assessment booklet, I used 3 main articles that discuss the same issue. Malkin, Dixon, Spielman, and Luke 2017 aim to find a connection toward validity for the ABLLS-R through its connection with the Peak Relational Training System and the Venlin Adaptive Scale. Their sample was of 21 children with ASD. The Venlin Adaptive Behavior Scale is very similar to the ABLLS-R assessment in the sense that it looks at adaptive and beginning language skills. The Venlin Adaptive Behavior Scale can be compared to developmental norms for typically developing children, while the ABLLS does not do this. A strong correlation of significance between the Venlin Adaptive Behavior Scale and the ABLLS-R would help strengthen the reliability of the ABLLS-R. The scores of these 21 participants on both scales were compared, and results indicated a significant correlation between both tests. Partington, Bailey, and Partington found similar results in their study with 50 adults testing 50 typical children with the ABLLS-R. According to this article, researchers generally consider coefficients greater than 0.7 as acceptable, greater than 0.8 as good, and greater than 0.9 as excellent. The results showed that 18 out of 25 areas in the ABLLS assessment came back with a coefficient greater than 0.9, meaning that they're in the excellent range for reliability. This shows a strong internal consistency, increasing the reliability of the test. Secondly, they did a test-retest reliability. These 50 parents were to assess their children at 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. The analysis revealed a strong test-retest correlations at the 3, 6, 9, and 12-month marks. Furthermore, this research found strong reliability and validity for the ABLLS-R assessment through both internal consistency and test-retest reliability. For my third article, the Usry, Partington, and Partington group gathered two panels, one to test validity and one to test reliability. The first panel includes experts with experience in ASD and had to either have a BCBA or a BCBA-D and have prior knowledge of the ABLLS assessment. The second panel had to meet a different criteria. They had to have a college-level degree with no knowledge of the ABLLS test and have careers either in education or clinical work that involved people with ASD. The first panel was given a 1 to 3 scale to determine whether the tasks were essential, useful but not essential, or not necessary. After becoming familiar with the instructions and scoring procedures, the second group were given 86 different videos of a child that they were to score using the ABLLS scoring guide. For validity, a content validity ratio, or a CVR, coefficient was determined. A CVR of 1 corresponds to an item rated as essential by all of the judges selected for Panel 1. The results found that 81% of the items on the ABLLS assessment were deemed essential by Panel 1. However, the rest of the items do not contain enough information to determine whether they have a strong validity or not. For inter-rater reliability, the researchers obtained an intra-class correlation coefficient, or an ICC. An ICC between 0.75 and 1 is excellent. All scores recorded by the second panel based on the 86 videos of the child with ASD were found to be reliable, as they all had a 0.75 or greater coefficient. So in conclusion, the ABLLS-R assessment was designed to be a simplistic way for parents and other educators to monitor a child with ASD's growth and development in basic learning and adaptive skills. This data can be applied to IEP goals and/or the monitoring of future development of skills. Due to the lack of a normative scale, information and evidence of validity and reliability for the ABLLS-R assessment has been scarce. So while further research should and probably will be conducted to ensure the truth behind the validity and reliability of the ABLLS-R assessment, I think that the comparison of these three articles helps us to better understand where research is at, and also understand that there is some significance that states that the ABLLS-R assessment is both valid and reliable. I've actually used the ABLLS-R assessment on 2 of my students that I have currently, and I found it to be extremely helpful because you can track the data and you can allows you to do it up to 4 times in each booklet. So I've been able to do it once every quarter and sort of track like how their skills are growing and where their IEP goals are at, and it's been extremely beneficial. So it's one of my favorite assessments that I've had the chance to explore so far. If you're viewing this video, you've probably already posted your video as well. And so congrats on finishing the class, and I look forward to hearing your comments below.